Hiya, it's Viviette, aka Rain, and welcome to my first ever CAS video on my channel. So today we are making characters from the Powerpuff Girls. We are going to do the Powerpuff Girls, the main trio, the Powerpunk Girls, which is like an alter version of them, and the RowdyRuff boys. So we're making 9 Sims today, and yeah, let's just dive right in. So I was really excited to do this. I'm originally doing this type of challenge. I don't know if I should call it that, but I said on my TikTok, which is PluvyX, if you want to follow me there, I said that I was going to create 300 Sims because we officially hit 300 followers over on TikTok. And so I am really happy to make these Sims, and I'm trying really hard to make them not so heavy on the CC. I of course have to use CC for skin and just their face because I don't know how I would survive, but for their clothes and everything I am trying to be for their games, for their clothes and everything, I will be using items found in the game just so if anyone wants to download it, they can, which was very difficult for me, especially not using any CC hair because I rarely use Sims for hairs. But c'est la vie. Right now, I'm finding it really difficult to decide whether I want to go super cartoony, or whether I want to be more realistic. Typically, in my Sim style, I do immersion of both. I typically typically in my sim style I do a combination of both, so I maybe make the eyes a little smaller sometimes or make them really bigger if I want to do really cartoony styles, and I just couldn't decide. But ultimately I decided to do big eyes, seeing as their eyes are like majority of their whole body. We are obviously starting with Bubbles. I really wanted to start with her because she is technically the first one, because when he's like sugar, spice and everything nice, she is the sugar. She's the sugar ingredient of the three, and she is so sweet. I don't remember if I really liked her when I was younger. Definitely let me know who your favorite Powerpuff Girl was down below. But I feel like I really loved Buttercup. I don't know, Buttercup was just awesome. And Bubbles was kind of like the innocent one of the group. She was always so sweet until you like upset her and she switched hard, which I found was so funny. She's definitely like Joy and just naive, very sensitive. She's kind of like the little sister, I definitely feel. I do think a part of me really wanted to like Blossom the most because she was pink, and pink was my favorite color when I was younger. So I really wanted to focus on like a very innocent type childlike demeanor for this. I really wanted to kind of portray or kind of get their personality through the Sims, so I really hope that came through. But I did this through like adding a lot of blush and things just to kind of um personify the innocence of her. And I also really wanted to use those pigtails, but they were so short, and not only were they so short, but like I didn't like the texture. And I know I said I was gonna be doing hairs from the Sims for like EA hairs, but no, I just couldn't do that to her. Like the first Sim we're making, I just couldn't. So I ended up choosing these longer pigtails, and they are kind of the same vibes, and I'm really happy. But could you tell the difference between those two? Ugh, I just don't like the first one. The thing is that EA has a lot of really nice, like the Sims team has a lot of really nice hairs, the early ones, like the base game ones and all the hairs that came with the first packs. But now they've moved on to different textures, so the hairs just don't match, they're not cohesive, and I want them to do a revamp of all those hairs because you'll see those hairs from the first tries, and then you'll see like newer hairs that they're coming out with, and it's just so different. I would love to see that. Anyway, we are moving on to the clothes. Now, as I said before, the clothes, I'm sticking with the Sims 4 clothes. I'm no CC, even though there were so many cute CC things that I could have used for her, but I stuck with my guns. I really wanted to find baby blue, and it was kind of difficult to find that in all of them, but some of the outfits, they looked really nice, but I just think they overshadowed her. And although I am making them as young adults, I do want to make them appear younger, so we do like short skirts and florals, but realistically it was everything that I could find in the specific shade of blue. And I was lucky because I think out of all of them, blue was the easiest. I think the Sims 4 has a lot of good blue swatches, and they're cohesive with the shade of blue that they have, so Bubbles was the easiest. I fear that Buttercup was maybe the most difficult, because the greens didn't match well. But Blossom was actually the opposite of Buttercup, because Blossom there's so many red swatches and there's so many pink swatches, but there's too much, so it was kind of overwhelming. But no, I really like how Bubbles came about. I think even now she's my favorite one that I've created. I'm really happy with her. I kind of wanted to make her like ditzy and just kind of naive. So even in the cold weather outfits, you see her with her little hat, and I never give my Sims hat, so I just thought it was so cute. And yeah, so that was Bubbles. Next, we're moving on to Blossom. Blossom, like, is you can see me going back to Bubbles because I wanted to make sure that things like their nose and eyes were similar because I do want them to be sisters. I wasn't sure whether I wanted them to be identical, like twins type siblings, or if I just wanted to, or if I just wanted it to look like they were siblings. So I kind of did a balance of both. I gave them different noses and eyes, but I used the same skin details on them, so that's where you can have some similarities. And Blossom is a very sensible character. She is obviously the leader, and she says like she's the main one. She is the most mature. I find she kind of had Baba vibes, or but she was like big sister, and she's obviously so level-headed. Um, I feel like she was so logical on the show, so I tried to incorporate that. Obviously, she's known for her bangs. Obviously, she's known for her bangs, so I gave her this cute one, which I never used, but I was kind of torn between the shades of red that we had available. So I used my CC hair overlay just to make it slightly darker, but I'm sure it would have the same effect with without it, and it was just a personal preference for me because it I just think it suited her face better. But obviously in the cartoon she is actually more ginger than that. I just didn't know if it looked nice, and I thought I realistically wouldn't give my sim that light of a hair, so I tried to compromise, and I hope you like it or that you think it looks good. And I was so upset that I couldn't use a bow because I have so many bow CC and they would have looked perfect, absolutely perfect for Blossom. But I was like, no, I need to limit my CC, so I did. I made sure that her outfits were very sensible, so I thought because she's so logical and level-headed that we need things like pockets, and I just imagined her having everything. Like if they ran into a situation, they would definitely be okay because Blossom has like a flashlight in her pocket, or like she casually has like a lighter or something. So that was the vibes that I was looking for in the clothes specifically. Um, so for her winter outfit, she has gloves and a hat, and I think she's the only one who I give gloves to because I like to think that she's over prepared, and that's the kind of person that she was on the show. But definitely Buttercup was my favorite. So of course I had to do her justice, and this was so nerve-wracking, but I am really happy with how Buttercup came. Or Buttercup ended up looking like. I didn't want to give her any characteristics that were too feminine. So although she looks just like her sisters, she has like a darker lip, and she has straighter eyebrows. And so I just wanted to kind of express her personality through things that realistically they would be able to change, like her eyebrows or her lashes. Um, and I was so torn between what hair I should give her because she looks good in everything, literally everything. But I believe this hair came with Get Famous, and I thought it was so cute and totally matched the vibes. And I feel like she would be the type of girl to cut her own hair. So the fact that it's slanted, even though it looks so cool and so French, that's not really what she was going for. Anyway, Buttercup is the toughest member of the butter. Buttercup is the toughest member of the Powerpuff Girls, and she is known for her aggressive demeanor, rebelliousness, and dislike of girly things. So I definitely wanted to portray that in this sim, but it was so difficult to find greens that matched. I kind of didn't want to go for a pastel green. Not that we have many pastels in the sim, but I kind of wanted to go for this light camo, like khaki green. Is that a thing? I don't know, but that's the type of green I went for. And I'm actually really happy how it came about. I gave her more tomboyish things and just really things that make her stand out because she is a middle child, and you know what they say about middle children, they like are always forgotten. So I wanted to make her have really loud things that kind of bring attention to her. And although she's not as sweet like baby Bubbles, and she's not as smart as Blossom, she's still like out there, and I love Buttercup so much, so I hope you like them. Anyway, we are moving on from the Powerpuff Girls and moving on to the PowerPunk Girls. Now, the PowerPunk Girls consist of three, of course. They are Berserk, Brute, and Brat. And when they first came about, I was so excited because I love the concept of like evil counterparts, like evil alters. Oh my gosh. So when they came, I thought that was so fun. Now we're starting with Brute, seeing as we just made Buttercup, so I kind of wanted to go in reverse. For Brew, I decided to go with a more darker aesthetic, seeing as she is supposed to be the counter opposite of Buttercup. So I showed that in her eyes. I made it dark green, and I really wanted to give her that little mohawk, you know, the one that I'm pretty sure it came with Island Living and Makoa wears. And I was like, oh my gosh, if this was my own sim and not based off anything, I would totally give her that. But when I was looking at the reference picture, I feel like this vampire's hair fit her perfectly. And when am I ever going to use this hair again? Even though she just makes it work, she honestly does, and she makes me want to use this hair more. I have never used this hair. I don't think I haven't used any hair that came with the Vampire's game pack because I didn't buy it. The pack for the hair or the CAS items, I bought it purely for Vladdy Daddy. But yeah, so Barut is the mean-spirited and destructive one. She is sometimes portrayed as very immature. Although I really love Buttercup, I didn't like Brute. Brute was definitely not my favorite, but for this I wanted to make her very edgy. Or I think Buttercup is tomboy, but Brute's going a step further and being more punky. And so I tried to portray that with her piercing and the cute earring that we also got from vampires, and just like chains and things. So I made sure to incorporate ripped jeans, and I gave her the collar as well that I never used, and I honestly love her. I gave her the sharp nails. I originally gave her the nails from the werewolf nails that came with the werewolf pack. I gave her those because I was like, she would totally have that. She's crazy. Fit, and I gave her a bandage on her arms to make it seem like she gets into a lot of fight because she is very aggressive. Just those small details kind of amount to this horrible person. Let me know if you have a favorite PowerPunk girl, or if you even knew who the PowerPunk girls were. So now we are moving on to Berserk. I definitely feel like she would hate that she wasn't first. I do apologize. Now Berserk is the main character, of the group, of course. She is Blossom's counterpart, or like opposite, and so she is still very smart. And she is technically the quieter one. She's like a silent evil, or like a deadly fart. I do like how they made her have the opposite quirks as well. So like in situations where Blossom would get like flustered, Berserk is like cool, calm and collected, and I really like that. I also really like the name Berserk. I think that was really cool. So although she's not very crazy, but her hair is, I decided to make her eyebrows really arched because I kind of wanted to give the like a maniac vibes from her, and I also gave her that hair that I'm pretty sure also came with vampires. I'm using a lot of vampires' hair, but I kind of like it. It makes her seem crazy, whereas that swoop fringe made Buttercup look really cute and badass. This one with Berserk, it kind of makes it look crazy. For Blossom, when I was doing her clothes, I did a mixture of reds and pinks because I couldn't find a perfect match, so I just incorporated both, especially because I lent more to a darker red for her hair. And so I kind of wanted to keep the preppy style with Berserk, seeing as they're both supposed to be really smart, and I wanted to tie it closer to Blossom. The way I differentiated it was I did darker reds, and I tried to do things that I don't think Blossom would wear. So I feel Blossom was very preppy and shy, like a good schoolgirl, whereas Berserk is a type of girl who's top of the class, so she acts up because she's not academically, mentally stimulated. Now finally we have Brat, who is Bubbles' opposite. Now I don't know how they marketed Brat to children, because I mean those fishnets, I was okay. Anyway, she is like really obnoxious, and whereas Bubbles is like sweet and cute, she's really full of herself. She like yeah, obnoxious is the word. So I tried to incorporate this by making her wear like shorter clothes and showing more skin because she's very confident. I think I later gave her the self-assured trait as well. But to differentiate her from Bubbles, I made her have darker blues. Like I said, blue is a really good color for the Sims. Apparently they have so many swatches of blue, so I thought that was good. And I kind of tried to give her the vibe of like a party girl, so I hope I hope that comes across. I also made her very childish because she just seems like infantile, or like she doesn't really care about anything. If we had an aloof trait, I think she would be classed as aloof. Punk girls, I thought they were so cool, and yeah, I'm really happy with how they came about. Definitely let me know who your favorite PowerPunk girl was, as well as your favorite PowerPuff girl. And now we're moving on to the boys. Now, some people know the boys and they don't know the girls, and vice versa. It's kind of difficult because they're supposed to be the same thing. So I like the boys more than I like the girls, because when I think of opposites, those are like strict opposites because you're coming with gender as well. But I know a lot of people ship them as well, which I think is so cute. Which I don't know. I think I like the boys more just because of the ships. So we have the RowdyRuff boys, and their names, their names I think are hilarious. Brick, Boomer, which definitely did not age well, and Butch. I just feel like those are great names, you know? And so we have them. So we're starting with Brick. I'm sorry, I cannot get over his name. He's so funny. But he wears a signature hat, and I was so upset that this was the only hat that The Sims had in red. But I think it was the best hat. It's the hat I believe that came with Discover University. So, we just had to live with it. And when I say I challenged myself, I challenged myself. I honestly need a pat on the back for even attempting to make a male sim. Honestly, anyway. So you have Brick, who is the opposite of Blossom and is basically like, I would say he was arrogant. I don't know if he was supposed to be portrayed as arrogant, but definitely what it came across and what I tried to embody. Now, I'm pretty sure when Brick was being made, his ingredient was a puppy dog tail. I think that's what they said. And he is supposed to be like this fire, and that's what I tried to incorporate as well. He is obviously supposed to be evil because they're the villains, but I tried to make him seem like arrogant and sadistic, kind of narcissistic, but just very explosive, fiery, like a firecracker. And I thought that because he wore a like baseball cap, because he wore a snapback, I don't know what you call them, because he wore a hat, I wanted to make him seem very um very bro. I think I also eventually gave him the bro trait, but that's what I was trying to incorporate with him. So I also made him like active because I wanted him to have that kind of like jock vibes, because those are the vibes that I got from him. So I gave him jock vibes. And then we move on to the next boy in the RowdyRuff boys group, Brute, which I think is such a horrible name. Like compared to everyone, like Brute seems like a horrible name. I probably would be a villain too if that was my name. But now, as similar to Brute, not Brute. Oh my gosh, is it Brute? What was the other one named? And unlike with Brute, I decided to give. Wait, did I call him Brute before? I think I meant to say Butch. Oh my gosh, I am. All these B names are getting to me because you got Bubbles, Blossom, Buttercup, Brat, Berserk, Brute, Brick, Boomer, and Butch. This is horrible. Okay, so obviously we're moving on to Butch. I am so sorry. Okay, Butch. Butch, similar to Brute, I was gonna say. Butch is like this horrible person and like very aggressive, whereas Buttercup is supposed to just be like maybe mild anger issues. These two are evil, like the epitome of evil. So I wanted to portray that as well through this, just simply through things like their eyebrows. So I decided to make Butch's eyebrows more arched and thick, because I wanted to kind of portray this like mean. Yeah, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like he's the guy with like he's like the bully. That's what I was trying to portray. I was trying to portray the bully. He's, if this was like Grease or something, he would be definitely wearing a leather jacket. He's just like this bad boy, and I really tried to incorporate that. So I of course had to give him the little mohawk because I didn't get to give that to Brute. So Butch has it, and I kind of ran into a problem at this stage because although I thought it looked really cool and I really wanted to use it, I thought that it gave his head like a horrible shape. And so I was like, oh my gosh, does that mean I'm never going to be able to use this hair because I never use this hair? But unfortunately, I decided to go with a different hair, and I eventually fall in love with it. It does look like the character's picture, which I mean that's what we're going for because they're based on everything, but it's just like, ugh, I really wanted to use it. And I never realized that we had those like knuckle buster gloves, and I was like, these are so cute and these are perfect. I gave him bandages as well, obviously, because he gets into a lot of fights. I wanted to do a deeper green as well, but I was mostly focusing on like leather jackets and denims and ripped jeans because I wanted him to be a stereotypical bad boy in my eyes from like a movie scene or something. And I am actually really happy with him. I think I feel like he looks like a bad boy, and I think he's cute. And last but not least, we have Boomer. Now, Boomer, I am so sorry they named you that. I wonder if they knew. I don't think anyone could predict how horrible, like how trademark that name would become, and like that would be you would be a walking meme. I'm so sorry, but Boomer is Blossom's male equivalent, and Honestly, I don't know how he is evil because he just kind of seems like he doesn't do anything. He definitely has a laid back attitude, and I think it perfectly balances out. Not even perfectly because they're crazy, but it does balance out his brother's personality. But I think I give him the lazy and slob traits eventually. So when I was looking at hairs, I wanted it to be something that he like an easy hairstyle for him because I was really running with the whole lazy and laid back type of character. So his hair's simple, he doesn't really do much to it. He wears clothes that are simple to put on. Like at one point I took off a shirt because I was like, would he really be wearing that? Like it must be so difficult to put that on multiple times. Like multiple layers, and so I really prioritized and focused on hoodies. So I wanted to make it more comfortable, and that's how I focused on it. And we are done. We are done. This was so fun to build. This was so fun to create and construct these characters in The Sims. Obviously, these were based on my Sim style. If I was to do an exact recreation, I would have made them children. But I think they came out really good, and I really hope you liked it. Please let me know if you did, and also let me know if you have any ideas for other videos. I am going to be posting these every Thursday. So yeah, I hope you have a lovely day, afternoon, evening. Bye.